Hello, welcome back. I'm glad you decided to come back this week. How have you been doing this past week?
This past week has been a little more stressful in general. Like we in school, we're kind of like nearing the end of the semester and stuff. So I feel like I've been more stressed about my exams, and I always feel like life just gets like really chaotic for some reason. Like every weekend, I feel like there's another thing to do, and I keep just like waiting for a weekend where there's nothing. And like, yeah, or like my husband's working all weekend and I don't get to see him, and like would rather just like have time where we can spend it together, and working on an assignment, or going and visiting family, and or people at our house. Like it just seems like it always just feels chaotic almost. So I feel like I've just been a little more stressed, like trying to manage everything.
So many different factors are playing into your stress right now.
Yes.
Okay, that's
a lot of different
very
things.
understandable. I don't know if you remember, but a couple weeks ago I asked you to fill out some forms.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay, how about we start off with you did the subjective happiness
Mm-hmm.
form. Tell me how you felt about that. Did you feel like that you noticed that you weren't happy, or that you were more happy than you thought?
I feel like the question seems so basic,
Mm-hmm.
but like when I was answering it, I was like, well, like maybe I'm not as happy as I think. You know, like you don't really realize it until you like start doing a form where it's like, what number fits my happy? Like I don't know.
It was more concrete, maybe seeing it on paper.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see one thing that stands out to me the most is you said compared to most of your peers, you consider yourself less happy. Like, do you think that has to do with stress, or just like the many different factors that you were talking about?
Yeah, so recently I like deleted social media and stuff, and I feel like seeing what everyone was doing all the time, like I'm just doing schoolwork all the time, and like not doing cool fun things, and like to like what I'm seeing everyone else doing, and when I catch up my friends, like they're doing like all these cool things that they're really passionate about, and I'm reading textbooks and that kind of thing. So I feel like in comparison, other people seem to be like a lot more content where they're at, where like I'm like hitting senioritis even though I've only been in school a year. You know what I mean? Like I'm just at that point where I'm like, oh, I just want to be doing this. I don't want to be like just studying all the time, I guess.
Would it be correct in saying maybe you have like FOMO, like fear of missing out kind of thing? Wish you were doing those, and kind of wish that this part of your life was over tomorrow instead of the year. Okay. No, that makes sense, and it's very valid, because I could not imagine being in grad school right now, especially with the end of the semester coming up. So I'm assuming you have lots of exams,
and
final
like,
projects.
We just started like finishing like internship stuff, like that'll be starting in August, and like just thinking about like how much more work next semester will be. I'm like, dude, I'm already stressed. Like, how am I gonna even do more? Is like almost like I can't even. I know I'll be fine when I'm there, but like it feels overwhelming. Like looking ahead at like what more I have to do to like be complete.
You feel very busy now. And just looking forward, you feel like you're going to be 10 times busier, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm feeling this way now, how am I,
sorry about that.
how am I going to do it next year with all the things I have going on? Okay. So that makes sense. So along with that, we did an anxiety form or whatever, and it is, so you scored a 17 out of 21 on it. Were you surprised by that, or did you?
17 being more and 21's really anxious?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Were you surprised about that, or did you kind of know before taking it that you knew?
Well, I feel like coming into therapy in general, like I kind of identified anxiety or stress or like whatever you want to call it, like being what I'm like struggling with the most. So I feel like that feels accurate.
Yeah. So one of the things that stuck out to me is feeling anxious or nervous or on edge. You said nearly every day. is it safe to say this is because school, or was it just all the other things you said too?
I think just in general, I feel like I've got like a lot on my plate always.
Okay.
And like school is definitely like a large portion of that, but like doing school and part-time working and being in a relationship and like all the other things that you have to do during your day just feels like a lot.
So you brought up your part-time job, and we were just talking about how next year you were going to be very busy. Are you going to have your job next year during your internship?
I haven't decided.
Okay.
My boss is like pretty flexible, where he's like, if you can't do it, it's understandable. But he's gonna keep me on just if I can, kind of thing. So I don't really know. But like the more I'm like seeing what my schedule's gonna be like, I'm like, I really don't think I can make this work.
Okay.
But also then it's like, then I don't have like extra money like coming in to like pay for groceries or like whatever. So that's also stressful.
Like the value of life, like how you're going to live off of.
Yeah, like one salary.
Right. And are you getting paid during your internship?
No.
Okay, so that's also
like a financial stress. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, that makes complete sense. So one of the last ones you filled out was the alcohol screening questionnaire. Tell me how you felt about that, because I know that we had mentioned like maybe drinking more on the weekends, but so tell me how you reacted to that.
I feel like I know I wasn't on like the super far end, but I feel like before, like I never really drank, like maybe once a month or something. Okay. Like a casual drink, like I'm out to dinner kind of thing, I get a drink. So like seeing where I'm at now, I'm like, I don't like, that doesn't seem like me, I guess, was kind of my like the way I was feeling about it. So where like one of the questions is like if you felt guilty about it or whatever, and like for me, like I don't want to be drinking as much as I am, so that felt like something like that I want to work on.
Right. You're looking back to how you were in the past, and then looking here on the questionnaire, it might not your numbers might not come out as like severe, but like it's more intake than normal for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It felt severe to like comparing where it was.
Where it used to be. Okay, yes. So if you don't mind me asking, in the past week, do you know about how much you've drank?
I feel like with exams I haven't drank as much, because like I was like more worried, like trying to do more, but like that didn't make sense. But like when I'm done with school and like done with my work, I would have like 2 or 3 drinks, like maybe like 3 days out of the week, like just to kind of like relax after everything.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you you scored in the second zone, which is risky, and it is explained as someone using alcohol at this level may develop. Back up, we're not saying that. Sorry, we're not saying that. Sorry, rewind. Okay, no, I totally understand where you are coming from, and and it's very valid, all of your feelings of feeling anxious. So tell me, has your since last week, has your husband like seen any difference or said anything? Because I know you had mentioned in our first session that he was very worried about you, and that's one of the main reasons you came in. Has within the past week, has it like worse or better? Has he mentioned anything?
I think he just like knows I'm really overwhelmed with like the work I have to do, so like he's trying to like cook more and like take more off my plate. So like he hasn't been saying it, but he's like, oh, I know you've got a busy week, like I'll do whatever so you don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. But not anything like I've been doing something more where he's like more concerned. I think he just knows like my workload and like can tell I'm stressed, I guess.
So how does that make you feel when you see him like doing the little things and like taking the extra effort to like, you know, make dinner? Like, do you think that brings you all closer, or?
Yeah, I feel like it makes me feel more seen, and I think he's pretty aware in general, like how I'm doing and that kind of thing. And like him and I can talk pretty openly, like, when I'm super stressed out at school, or, like, we talk about my assignments, and, because that's kind of the thing that's in my world right now. So, like, he's not the best cook, so he, like, kind of asks, like, he cooks what he can kind of thing.
Right.
But, like, him just even offering to do that is, like, really helpful, or taking out the trash, or, he, like, vacuumed the house the other day, and stuff like that. Where, like, I like things really clean, and I feel really overwhelmed when things are messy. Like, then I'm just thinking about, oh, I need to clean this up. So it's nice when, like, oh, the dishwasher's already unloaded. Like, I don't have to do that. It's, like, another thing I can take out of my mind, I guess.
Off of your plate. So, just for clarification, how much longer are your exams? Like, when will you be officially, like, done for the summer?
I'm done next week.
Okay.
But then 3 weeks later I start summer school. So I've got summer school, like, all summer.
Okay, so right now, like, anxiety level, like, there's no anxiety at all, like, at a 0, and then a 10 is very anxious. Where would you say you are right now?
Probably right now with exams, like, probably like a 7, I would say.
Okay. So, since you have another week and a half, I want to maybe go through some things that would help you become less anxious. Maybe by your last exam, be like, okay, like, I can do this. So is there any, what do you think would help you become less anxious? Like, it could be like taking 10 minutes a day to, like, do something for yourself. What are some things that you think that, like, throughout your daily life within the next week and a half that you can do to maybe take that anxiety level from, like, a 7 to even a 6 or a 6.5? Just something small that would relieve you of some anxiety.
I used to work out a good bit, like, every day, but I feel like recently I've been, like, so overwhelmed with everything that I just don't do anything when I get home. So, like, maybe, like, start going for walks again, or, like, do, like, a small little workout once a day kind of thing. I feel like that in general, like, helps me clear my mind.
Yes. And I was gonna use Solution Post just and ask you what you want to do. Like, I'll do that next. Okay. So is there anything else that maybe that you used to do? So, like, in the summer we don't have school. What are maybe some things that you do on the daily that don't take up the whole day, but, like, you bring joy to yourself and where you're not so anxious?
I like to spend more time outside.
Okay.
I think, well, we've kind of had crummy weather recently, but maybe when this weekend it's supposed to be really nice. So maybe, like, being outside more when I can kind of thing.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to pause. I'm lost. I messed up because I wanted to get solution focused. You're gonna start over and be like, where do you want your? I don't know. It's hard because it's only a week and a half of your exams.
I know. I think you're doing good.
Okay.
Because, like, this is for, like, right now, and then the long term, like while you're still in school, like, how can we, like?
Yeah.
That's the long term, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned earlier one thing that, like, maybe stressed you out or whatever, your schedule and your husband's schedule. So you mentioned last session, so he works the night shift. So I can imagine how hard that is because you go to school all day, then you have your job here, so you get home. And is he leaving for work?
So he doesn't work like a specific, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, it shifts. He's on a 4-week schedule.
Okay.
It makes, like, no sense, but, like, he's always working a different day of the week.
Okay.
And they usually try and make them closer together so he could sleep and wake up and then go kind of thing. So if he's working, like, night to night, he wakes up at, like, 4 p.m. and leaves for work at 6:30 or 6. And I get home around, like, 5:30. So I see him for, like, an hour, and then he goes to work. And then he comes home at 7 a.m.
Okay. So you said
that makes sense.
You said 4 days on and 4 days off.
Kind of,
sort of. But, like, there is, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 days that y'all are on the same schedule maybe?
Yeah, there's like, so he usually works around 3 days a week.
Okay.
So the 4 other days, if he's not like sleeping halfway through the day,
Mm-hmm.
like we can spend like the evenings together or something like that.
So, and do you typically do that, or is that something that you would want to see yourself making time for?
Because we're pretty good at like I'm aware he needs to hang out with other people when he has time off. But like when we can, we like try to set aside like, oh, we're gonna have dinner together and like make time for that. So like I try to have my work done when I know he's like home. Mm-hmm. Like I try not to bring like schoolwork home because I'm like I want to spend like time together.
So it sounds like you do make time for each other, and that's not an issue. And okay, so that's impressive. I don't know how you do that, but it's very important. So my question to you is, when he is at work and when you're home by yourself, how would you scale your anxiety? Like, do you get more anxious when you're alone, or like, do you worry yourself to death? Because I know you have mentioned like sometimes you just worry yourself throughout the day, and instead of taking a deep breath, you just worry and like wish the day was over.
I feel like when it's just me at home, like everything's just more stressful. I don't know, like there's more for me to do. Like he's not there to help with things. Also like being alone in the house, like, and I live in like the woods and stuff, can be a little spooky.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and also like I don't have a person there to like be talking to, so I'm thinking about the things I need to be doing. So then I like stress that I'm like not on top of it, or like, oh, I have this assignment due next week, so like I need to like I'm just thinking through like all my to-do list kind of stuff, instead of like actually relaxing.
So how would you feel if we maybe came up with something that while you're home alone during this time, like that you could maybe do something for yourself for 10 minutes, whatever? What do you think would bring you less anxiety? Like, even if it's, I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, I feel like that would be helpful to like have something I can do when it's just me. When I'm home alone, what could I do?
So maybe just like give yourself a breath, or like be like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. Like, my feelings are valid. I'm very anxious, but I can do, I mean, it could be go on a walk, or you mentioned you have a dog. Yes. Play with your puppy for 10 minutes. I mean, or go take a bath, or do any of these things feel like things you would do on the regular? Or maybe go get coffee for yourself.
I feel like I used to journal a lot. Okay. So like maybe like you were talking about like validating how I'm feeling, like I could write about it, maybe like validating how I'm feeling, but like I don't know, like just kind of processing that is helpful. Playing with my dog is always helpful because she's just cute, and I feel like doing something fun like makes you not think about everything that's going on as much, or that could be helpful.
Okay, yeah. So next time, within the next week, if you're alone, you're feeling anxious because you have all of this schoolwork and things like that, how about maybe take a deep breath and maybe journal for like 10 minutes, and just everything that you're feeling, your anxiety. It could be about whatever. It could be that you don't know what you want to eat for dinner, or that you miss your husband, anything. How about we write it down, and then maybe we can bring it to the next session and see how we feel.
Yeah.
And then after, so I want you, before you start journaling, think of where your anxiety is. Then after 10, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, tell me, or write down like what your anxiety level is after. And it could be worse, it could be less, it could be the same. Just, we
can keeping track of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have maybe go for walks again, spend more time outside. So it's very outdoorsy. So since we live in Boone, do you go hiking a lot? Okay.
Yeah, I like to hike.
Is this something you like to do with your husband?
And alone. I don't mind hiking by myself. Especially with the dog. It feels like not as weird to hike alone if you have a dog.
Yes. Okay, now, you have 1.5 more weeks of this semester.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned you only get how long off?
3 weeks.
Okay, so I'm gonna move into some more long-term goals. So maybe they can be intact for your first semester of spring semester, summer semester?
Yeah.
Okay, so how does that sound?
That sounds good.
So maybe we won't be as anxious this summer.
Yes.
So
in the next school year.
Ideally, 4 weeks from now, you're starting summer session. How would you like to feel? Like, how do I ask this? Where do you want to be with your anxiety? Like, what are some things that you see yourself doing that'll lower your anxiety, or just some long-term goals you see for yourself involving school? Like, how you feel while you're in school?
I feel like I would want to feel like more capable.
Okay.
And like, I think especially like starting internship, like I stress like, oh, am I ready for this? Like, am I prepared? Do I know what I'm doing? Like, I want to be able to like trust more that like I haven't been wasting my time for a year. Like, I've learned something along the way, that like I'm prepared for whatever, and like I'm not supposed to have all the answers, so like just feel more capable and like confident in myself, I guess, instead of like always just like spiraling with like being stressed about it. I'm trying to think where else.
So it feels like maybe for that, like, you want to give yourself validation, give yourself more credit, you know, not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And then is there anything else, like, maybe, like, do you, like, because when you're in school, you're very busy. Like, maybe do you want to set aside time for, like, a long weekend with, like, your friends or husband or anything to, like, kind of get away from the school aspect?
Yeah. I feel like I would like having a long weekend is really nice, but I also, like, want to find time during the week of, like, like, and because I feel like right now it's like, oh, I'm just like counting down the days till I have a break again, and like I feel like we talked about this last time, like always feeling like I'm waiting for something, or like not living in the moment because I'm like waiting for a break because I'm so like overwhelmed with everything. So I want to find a way to like enjoy what I'm doing right now, even if it is like a lot of work, but like, you know what I mean, like find time to like do stuff for myself, but also like find joy in what I'm doing, I guess.
Maybe find, like, throughout your everyday life, like, find joy or happiness in like one thing instead of like wanting the week to go by so you can get to the weekend and so you can drink, or so you can you know, like, find little moments of joy every day instead of wishing, okay, is like this week over so I can be done with school for 2 days. Okay, no, that makes complete sense. So how, staying on that, what do you think you could do maybe throughout your day, things that would make you stop and be like, okay, like, let me live in the moment, let me not rush my weeks away, because I mean, grad school is only 2 years, and then after grad school, you know, you have to like
work,
get a real job, like Monday through Friday, and it'll be very different. You won't be right now we feel like, or you feel like you don't have time, but then when you get in the real job and
you still don't have time.
Right. So maybe setting up these things so when you do get to that point in your career, you can stop and be like, okay, well, let's not waste away the day. Like, what are some things maybe you have in mind that you could do that to just like bring like a little joy to your life?
I feel like not wishing away time of like, there was a point where like I dreamed of being in grad school, and like I'm doing it right now, and while it's difficult, like I feel like it's important to like remind myself like that this is my dream to do this work, so like reminding myself of that, or like why I'm doing what I'm doing, I guess, like put it in perspective, and like be more grateful for it instead of just being like, I want to be done.
It seems like more like it doesn't have to be like an actual like thing, but like maybe like a mind shift, like stop and be like, okay, like I'm in grad school, I graduated college, I'm where I want to be at right now, and then kind of be like, maybe like think of like one or two things, like, why are you doing this? Why does this make you happy? What do you want to do in the future? Involving your career.
And like how I'm doing that right now.
Yes, like, so it doesn't have to be there. So maybe just like taking 5 minutes and being like, you know, looking at the future. Yeah. Looking past, like, I know a lot of times it sounds like you get stuck in the moment, like, with your anxiety, and you just want to fast forward to what we all think is going to be, like, the perfect part of, like, whatever. So when we're feeling like that, we can stop and just think about, like, everything that you've gone through to get to this point, where you're at right now, because how many people are in your class right now, do you know?
I think it's like 15 of us.
Yeah, which is, I mean, insane.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone is doing, you know, got up, applied to grad school, and is actually doing it. So I feel like also giving yourself credit and validation will really help. But how does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. Like shifting the way I see things.
Yes. So for these, is there anything else you can think of that maybe you want to do short term or long term? Anything?
Like kind of going with that last one. Like, I feel like I get like so caught up in everything that like I'm just thinking of all the things I have to do. So like taking time to like take a breath or like pause, or like I feel like I try to multitask. Like I'm driving to school and I've got a podcast going, and like I'm always like overstimulated almost of like just all the different things. So like taking time to like drive in silence maybe, or like just like have a moment where I'm like not thinking about everything or doing something, always like just taking a second, or taking a minute to take a breath or just do nothing.
So I know you just mentioned like deep breaths or whatever. Have you ever tried that coping mechanism, like when you're really anxious? Like, have you tried it before?
Not really. I feel like I just try to like logic myself out of it, which doesn't really work. I'm like, oh, like I shouldn't be feeling this way. Like it's fine. Like you're almost done. I don't know. Like I try to like rationalize myself out of being anxious.
It feels like we're always going back to like that validation piece. Like, like you need to feel validated in the fact that your feelings are valid. You're going through, you're at one of the most stressful parts of your life right now. I mean, you just got married not long ago, your whole life changed, so like it's very normal to feel this way. So how about for another one of our short-term goals, like maybe within the next week and a half, when you have all of your exams or whatever, and say you're sitting there and studying, you might not be understanding the material, or you're annoyed with your professor, whatever, or you're just stressed about your exam. Take 5 deep breaths in and out, and maybe that'll bring your anxiety level down. And it's something that you wouldn't have to sit and do for 30 minutes or 10 minutes. It'll take 2 minutes. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I could definitely try that. I know that's one that people talk about, and I'm like, I don't know, I just need to try it.
Yes. Okay, well, I don't know what else to say to you.
Like big picture, conceptualize.
Okay, so I feel like we got a lot of headway today and throughout our short-term and long-term goals. Is there, and obviously, I should have said this, but if you don't like any of the goals that like I suggested, like obviously tell me. And so like in our short-term goals, like maybe throughout the next week and a half, maybe go on a walk by yourself or with your dog, or and it doesn't have to be long, or just maybe stay outside in the present, maybe study outside, because you mentioned it's gonna be nice this weekend, so you could do that, study outside and do your schoolwork, and maybe that'll bring you some happiness. And so for the long-term goals, looking more, I wanted to focus on the next, 2 months, because you're going to be back in summer school. Like, what can we do to relieve some anxiety before you get back into summer school and it all starts again? And not even that, but looking forward to next August, when you said you start internship and all of these things that are going to happen. Like, what can we do so we're not in this anxious phase that we're in right now? So I think that looking at those, and I think one of the biggest things is we talked about like maybe a long weekend or even time during the day, I think it would be really helpful, like, in the next couple sessions, like, we actually plan those out. Like, if we want to do a long weekend, if we go ahead and plan those out before we're actually in the moment and stressed out, we could do that. And
like having a plan in place kind of
thing.
Yes,
if I'm a planner, but I mean, and if you're not, we can do a spur of the moment. But I think that it would really help you, like, I'll look forward to something, you know, in the fall when your anxiety level's really high with internship, supervision. Oh wait, are you doing supervision and all of those things?
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be something that you can look forward to, and then even like long-term wise, like something you can do every day. Just something little, because I mean it is very important so that we try to have as less anxiety as we can, especially starting in the fall. But yeah, do you have any questions, or is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay, so next week I have just a short-term goal, maybe just either go to the gym, do your homework outside, walk your dog, journal for 10 minutes when you feel like you're at the peak of your anxiety, because I know within the next week you're going to be very stressed with exams. So let's shoot for that goal if that's okay for you. And then we can reconvene next week and see how it goes.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect.
Thank you.